Shalom. My topic today in honor of Hanukkah and in honor of my grandfather's 50th yahrzeit is, who is a hero? On Hanukkah, we celebrate the heroism of the Maccabees, the few who overcame the many. For example, according to the first book of Maccabees, at the Battle of Emmaus, 3,000 Jews defeated 5,000 infantry and 1,000 cavalry from the Greek Syrians. At the Battle of Beit Zur, 10,000 Jews defeated 60,000 infantry and 5,000 cavalry. Since October 7th, we have been awed by the heroism of tens of thousands of Israelis who performed incredible acts of bravery. For example, Lieutenant Yanai Kaminka, Zichrono Livracha, who with his fellow officers saved over 100 soldiers and civilians at the Zikim army base. Aner Shapiro, Zichrono Livracha, who defended 30 people inside a mobile shelter near Kibbutz Re'im by throwing 7 hand grenades back outside. And Rachel and the cookies, the story from the town of Ofakim, a woman aged 65 who fed the terrorists in her house coffee and cookies for 17 hours until she and her husband were rescued by the police. But there are other types of heroism which take place elsewhere, not on the battlefield. Last Friday, Yud Tet Kislev, the 19th of Kislev, was the 50th yahrzeit of my grandfather, Rabbi Mordechai Yaakov Golinkin Zichrono Livracha, whom we called Zaidi. He was small in stature, yet he devoted his life to God, Judaism, and the Jewish people. I would like to briefly recount 3 of his acts of quiet heroism. In 1913, he was chief rabbi of Zhytomyr in Ukraine, which is 90 miles west of Kiev. He made a point of becoming friendly with the governor of Volhynia, and then the Bayless blood libel trial began in Kiev. The governor asked Zaidi, "Is it true that Jews use blood to bake matzot?" Zaidi explained that Jews are not allowed to eat blood, and he opened up a Bible in Russian and showed him the appropriate verses. Furthermore, he said, even if a Jew finds a single Blutstrof, that is the Yiddish expression, a single drop of blood in an egg, they must discard the egg. The governor believed him, and he promised that there would be no blood libels and no pogroms in Zhytomyr before, during, or after the Bayless case, and he kept his promise. In February 1938, Zaidi was the Av Beit Din of Danzig, the free state between Germany and Poland. This was before Kristallnacht and the Holocaust. He wrote a letter in Hebrew, which I published in 2021, to the Av Beit Din of Melbourne, Australia, looking for a place where the Jews of Danzig could flee. He wrote, and this is just part of the letter, "May His Excellency not think that my words written here are in black ink, as they appear to the naked eye. The truth is he would see the blood of the souls of our fellow Jews hovering between life and death, under the letters and in between the lines." After Kristallnacht in December 38, the Jewish community of Danzig agreed with the Senate that they would all leave by May 1939. They sent their precious Judaica items to New York, and in 1980, there was an exhibit at the Jewish Museum in New York of those precious items sent from Danzig in 1938, 1939. And indeed, most of the Jews of Danzig left by the deadline, and my grandparents were among the last to leave, arriving in the U.S. in May 1939. Finally, during all of World War II, there was only one demonstration in Washington, D.C., to protest the slaughter of European Jewry. It was a demonstration of 400 Orthodox rabbis in Washington, D.C. on October 6, 1943, a few days before Yom Kippur. They met with the Vice President, Wallace, on the steps of the Capitol. President Roosevelt refused to meet them in the White House. My grandfather was one of those 400 rabbis. We, too, are surrounded by quiet heroes. A rabbinical student at Schechter named Liran has been in Miluim, in reserve duty now, for 14 months. Anat Al-Kabetz, an MA student at Schechter, whose daughter Sivan and her fiancé were murdered at Kfar Aza on October 7th. Anat and her husband Shimon have turned their daughter's house into a museum and have given tours to many thousands of people. And Yaloma Zahut, our MA graduate from Ofakim, has helped us set up a program for spiritual care in Ofakim. So this Hanukkah, let us remember the military heroism of the Maccabees and our incredible IDF soldiers, but also the quiet heroism of Rabbi Golinkin, of Liran, Anat, Yaloma, and hundreds of thousands of Jews in Israel and the diaspora who have performed acts of heroism since October 7th. Am Yisrael Chai, Chag Hanukkah Sameach from Schechter.